Y'all know how I am about my sound effects, my claps. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed Geneva Renee's video. And again, make sure you come out and support her at Blues Alley on Wednesday. She's got an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock show. So now we want to say happy birthday to the viewers and to my Facebook family and friends. Happy birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yay! So now I get a chance to introduce you to my very special guest, Mr. Steve Washington. So now, you know, I had to condense it down a little bit because you've done so much.
Yeah, it seems like
My
it.
gracious.
Think about it.
So you are a singer, actor, and native Washingtonian.
Yes.
You've been performing since '81 and appeared in numerous productions, including West Side Story, Oklahoma, and Godspell. So since the '90s, you fronted several of DC's top bands and orchestras. As such, Steve has shared billing with the Marvelettes, the Drifters, the Supremes, the Village People, Peter Noon, Gary Puckett, Orleans, comedian Stephen Wright, and others. Currently, Steve is the featured male lead vocalist in Rags and the All-Stars,
Yes.
Jazz City, and Rhythm Factor. And that's funny because, you know, I was starting to get a little nervous. I'm like, all that you've done, why did we just meet last week? But I do remember you from Rhythm Factor because they have a video, right?
Yeah, they have a little bit of something happening.
remember- yes.
It's picking up.
Yeah, so as simply Steve Washington, or as the namesake of his band, the Steve Washington Project, Steve performs in the DC area's top jazz and blues night spots. He's had successful runs at Mr. Henry's, where Roberta Flack made her mark, and has appeared on several occasions at the famed Marquee Lounge and Fleetwood's
Oh, I missed that place.
Mike Fleetwood's Rock and Blues Club,
Missed that place.
both of which sadly are now history. Except for Mr. Henry's now.
Mr. Henry's is
Yay,
back.
Yes. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Steve is also entertained on multiple occasions at DC's world famous Blues Alley Supper Club to capacity crowds. Feature vocalist on artist CDs and a requested demo vocalist for songwriters from DC to New York. Steve will soon be featured on jazz recording artist Debbie Kirkland's forthcoming new album in a very special original composition, a duet.
Debbie Kirkland.
Yes. Okay. So almost there. So you have traveled the world headlining on many of the ocean's finest cruise ships, as well as touring with the European counterpart of the Steve Washington Project.
Yes.
His big band cabaret acts, Nat and Sammy Remembered, a loving tribute to Nat King Cole and Sammy Davis Jr., and Rhythm and Blues and Broadway, Plain Old Good Fun, continue to be well received on land and sea. So in 2002, Steve released his first CD entitled Secretly, which is here, showcasing several of his original compositions. As of this update, 13 years later, in 2015, he has completed and is in the process of releasing the second CD, Right to Love. Yay! We're playing that in the background as we speak, some of the tunes from this current CD, featuring the Thad Wilson Jazz Orchestra. Right to Love is a big band offering that includes sizzling, sensual, original arrangements of a few familiar favorites, as well as some rediscovered gems. Yay!
I want one of those.
I get a little happy with this, don't I? Welcome. Oh my
Nice
goodness.
to be welcome. Thank you.
Yes. So let's start with, you know, your history on the DC scene.
Yeah.
You have done so much.
Now that you break it down, yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right out of college, I just started auditioning, and the first thing I did was audition for West Side Story at a dinner theater somewhere. And they said, you sing fine, you sing just fine, but I need you to learn to dance. So I knew that was coming.
Wow.
So I spent the next 2 years literally shedding in the studios in DC. The DC Dance Works, folks might remember that place down on F Street, is long gone. And just learning how to do that stuff so I could do theater. And eventually I did do West Side Story.
So did you do theater in school, or was that your first experience?
No, I was an athlete.
Okay.
I was a track and field athlete. That was my joy, my passion for a long time. long time. It was very successful too, and I loved it. I just loved it. And Skip Grant and St. Albans, CYO, AAU. I loved all that good stuff.
Wow.
And I do miss it. I do miss that.
Okay.
But I'm still making music, whereas I would have retired from track and field a long time ago. So it's cool. It's cool.
So let's talk about your okay, so we cleared this up. Not so much a part of the relaunch of performing in Mr. Henry's, but you're my first act since they reopened, because for many, many years they stopped having live performances.
Regularly, yeah. They would occasionally have this or that, and they'd have little runs with different trios and whatnot. I remember Kevin Court Trio being there periodically. And not too long ago, maybe 6 months ago, I heard about them starting to put jam sessions in there and doing things. And Henry's the management there is so behind the music. They're so supportive, and they're really passionate about it, and it's a great spot. It's just a neat little spot.
Well, I looked at the calendar, and they're booked up all through the summer, so they're not playing. They're getting acts in there.
No, they're serious.
Wow.
So we got to support Mr. Henry's.
Yes.
And the cool thing is, it's like they're the only real spot in Capitol Hill that I know of that has live music. So that's kind of a neat little thing.
Live, good quality music. Yes, I'm just happy that I had the chance to catch a couple of your performances there. I missed last week. I was
We had some fun last week. It was a totally different vibe that night.
Really?
Totally different.
Well, see, you know what? That's one of the things about your live performances. A person really doesn't know what they're going to expect when they come and see you. Just, well, no, they know that they're going to be entertained, and you will provide your beautiful vocals. I mean, your energy during the performances, you draw the crowd in. And one of the things that, and I've told you this, don't mean to make you blush, but
too late.
I tell you, my son is 15. He'll be 16 in a few weeks. And the first time he saw you perform, you were doing jazz, you were doing your style of music, and he absolutely loved it. And I think he loved more just your voice and your performance than the actual. Taj, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that just speaks volumes, because today a lot of these kids, you know, they're into that hip hop, rap, and they're into some R&B, but to really take it back historically, where you know, the whole jazz, the true jazz sound.
Well, you know, DC is loaded with, the DC music scene is, you know this, it is seriously powerful. We've got so much talent in this town. And finally, the audiences are appearing, you know, so we can feed something like Mr. Henry's. We can keep, you know, we can keep these venues kind of cooking, and we can keep the players busy. And there's great singers out here. There's like yourself and the jazz community. We've got so many tremendous talented people in the jazz community. So it's beautiful. Sharon Clark and Janine Gilbert Carter, and the list goes on and on. There's some great folks. DC's rocking with the jazz. Let me just tell you right now.
I have some people that they beg to differ, but it's good to know that, you know, it's coming back.
It is, absolutely. Now, we're still working on the bread thing.
Right.
But the quality of the music is happening.
Yes.
I mean, really.
Good. So now let's talk about this your current project, Right to Love.
Yeah.
This is your baby.
Yes, it is.
So how long had you been working on this project?
I'll tell you. I saw on Facebook that a buddy of mine who did some arrangements for me a while ago, and several years ago, was playing down at Columbia Station with his jazz orchestra. I was like, oh man, I gotta go see that. They knocked me out, completely knocked me out when I heard Caravan. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that. This is it. Because I've been thinking about, what am I gonna do for this next record? And when I went down there and heard it, I said, that's it. That's what I got. That's what I got to do. This is what's touching me. This is what's making me happy.
Right.
I love my R&B, but the jazz is sort of kind of really taken hold over the last few years. It really is. And Dad said, let's do it. So 6 months later, we got something I think that we can be proud of.
Wow. I mean, I was listening to it, and the first thing that struck me was the live instrumentation, that whole big band sound that we've kind of grown away from, and especially with the independent artists, we have limited budgets. Funding is definitely an issue, so you can't necessarily afford to have all of those musicians, and so now you got to try to get your product out, or get have your voice heard in the best way possible to fit, you know, your budget. So, but one of the things that I definitely applaud in this is the instrumentation. The vocals is beautiful, very well done.
Thank you.
And I'm super excited because, you know, all of the tracks are great, but what struck me was the McArthurs Park.
Really?
Yes. Now tell the story about that song real quick.
Wow, that we'd gotten a lot of material done, and I just felt that there was something we needed, a little something to kind of anchor. And this tune has been haunting me for a long time. I first heard one of my idols, Tony Bennett. I got a lot of idols, but he's one of them. Tony Bennett sang this years ago, recorded in the 60s. And he said, you know, because it's a long song, McArthurs Park. So the part that he did was just the bridge, and I read a quote where he said, "I just couldn't get behind the cake." You know, I left my cake out in the rain. He didn't like the rest of the tune, but he loved the bridge and recorded that. And I loved it too because it's a song within a song. And I thought, let me just do that. We can do that with a world-class rhythm section. I got Chris Grasso on it, Thad on trumpet, and Zach Pride on bass, and Mark Prince on the drums. Just beautiful cats. It's just beautiful.
And we'll get a chance to hear. We'll get a chance to hear it live in a few minutes. But yeah, yes, the acoustic version of the song. I'm excited about that. Now, in terms of like, because there's quite a few years span between the two projects. So, and between the two, what do you think was the most challenging in terms of, you know, the process and the journey for Secretly versus Right to Love?
Interesting. Well, Secretly is definitely more adult contemporary R&B. It's like an easy, very accessible R&B. Little pop influence, a little bit of it's just adult contemporary R&B. There's some big singing on there, some big music on there, but it's not hardcore hip hop or anything like that type R&B. And Al Johnson, the great, legendary Al Johnson, produced it for me, and he was brilliant. The man oozed music. He like breathed music. He sweated music. I mean, the man. And he provides some hellacious background vocals on it as well. I mean, I watched this guy literally, and the difference is stark between the two records because he literally would get behind the piano and do most of the instrumentation just with the keyboard and synthesizer. And he'd bring in people like Lenny Harris and Yvonne Johnson to come in and lay some of the, you know, give some flavor. But basically, he had the whole skeleton and the whole body of the thing all by himself. He'd program the drums, I mean, and do the background vocals with me. We do them together. So the man was amazing. So folks, you know who Al Johnson is.
Yes. Yeah,
and also another cat's on here that I'm real proud that he's on here. David Obasaker, who you may know from Julie and Company.
Right.
That was her MD for years. He's on there for a couple of things. So
I look forward to hearing it.
It's fun. It's got some nice stuff on there. Some original tunes that I've written.
And so what is the reasoning behind the span?
The span was working. I was doing shifts. I was traveling, and I was loving it. I was seeing the world. Took my 2 shows, and I just packed my charts up, go meet whatever orchestra was waiting for me, rehearse with them, do the show that night. 2 shows a night, whatever that night was that I had was booked, and I was loving that. I do miss it.
I bet. Well, you can get back into it though.
I plan on it.
Right.
I plan to.
Okay, that does.
Not full time like that, but maybe two, three times a year is good.
And as we spoke on this earlier, one of the points that I really want to make sure that we make in addressing the span is it's not necessary. It's not a race. You know, it's not that you got to hurry up and get a product out there. You know, you're racing against the clock. It's, you know, and sometimes, you know, people, for whatever reason, it could be financial, it could just be they're not in that creative space. But, you know, don't force it.
That's true. I really wasn't in the frame of mind to write or to record. I wanted to, but I just didn't have an idea. In fact, before Right to Love, I was tooling around with ideas, talking to great producers, and nothing was really, you know, until I saw the orchestra.
And it's something how, because when it's time, everything seems to align. Everything falls into place as it should. So that's that is definitely something to think about again, because you know some people just feel like I gotta get this out, I gotta get it out. You know, I used to beat myself up because I would say for years, I need to get this out, I need to get this out, I need to get this out. And, you know, I created this studio at home so that I can kind of get ready. And, you
Good
know,
stuff.
Yes, and I've been dreaming of songs, and I'll jot down or I'll sing something in my phone, but things, you know, still haven't quite connected. Some things are in place, but I'm not, again, going to say, oh God, I've got to do this, you know, right now.
Sort of let it be organic.
Yes, there you go. You know what? That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to let it be organic.
Happen organically.
Yeah, so do you have any advice for anyone that's listening in terms of, you know, if they're looking to embark on their CD project, what are some things that they should think about or consider?
Well, I'll be honest, I'm still learning. I will probably be learning about music until I am called, because there's so much to learn.
Yes.
I have so much respect for it and for the people who know so much. And, musicians who just blow me away with their musicality. It's stunning. But what I will say is this. There's a lot more to recording a CD than just recording a CD.
Right.
There's promotion, which is something folks don't think about, you know, when they're doing it half the time. And you may not need it. Sometimes you just want to do a CD to be a calling card to kind of, you know, kind of be a representation of what you're doing, sell at gigs, you know, and that's that. But if you want to take it further, you're gonna have to budget for promotion.
Right. And that's costly.
And that's a big deal. So just keep that in mind. That's not advice, it's sort of information.
Now, in terms of promotion, are you saying like for
radio publicity, getting
a
gigs,
publicist?
getting a publicist, talking to publicists, talking to radio promoters. That's a process.
Yes.
Most of us can't do it because we don't have the connections. Most of us don't. If you're industrious, you can, but to wear all those hats and still, you know, function, that's asking a lot of yourself.
It could be overbearing.
Yeah. So.
It could definitely be overbearing. So, all right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and you will perform live.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, yay! And then we'll have time to at least have one more question in terms of finding out how people can stay connected to you, given all your information. And then we'll have our Set Your Mind, Set Your Week, and then we go home. But first, let's have this commercial, and then the next face you see will be Steve. And Steve has live accompaniment. What is your name again?
Dan the Maestro.
Dale the Maestro?
Dan the Maestro.
Dan the Maestro. Okay,
they,
got
they call me the Maestro in camp, but it's actually the Maestro. Yeah.
Okay, so
do I have a minute to talk about him?
Yes.
Do you have just a second?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Dan is going to be playing with me at the Metropolitan Room in New York. Okay. But we just sort of, I'm going to tell on you. We just found out we were performing today about 2 hours ago. Yes. Or I did. So I was like, oh, well, maybe I could find somebody. So I called Dan, and thankfully he was available.
Thank you, Dan.
And ordinarily he'd bring his piano, but we have something else. And I've never sung this song with guitar, so it'll be interesting.
Yes. Now, see, you know what? But things happen for a reason. So this could be something spectacular.
Maybe the next concept is guitar and something.
There you go. See? So we're going to take a quick break and come back, and you'll be able to check Steve out.
You heard them all, a lot of fellas play hard, but they soft like cloth. And I'ma taste things that matter up or all. And I feel not stop till I get you off with the mother cats. I tell you like A-Funk, baby, I'ma break your back in a good way though, in a hood way though. And knock the top like TKO.
Like a haunting melody, you came inside. There will be another song for me, for I will sing it. There will be another dream for me, someone will bring it. I will drink the wine while it is warm, and never let you catch me looking at the sun. And after all the loves of my life, after all the loves of my life, you'll still be the one. I will take my life into my hands, and I will use it. I will win the worship in their eyes, and I will lose it. I will have the things that I desire, and my passion flow like rivers to the sky. And after all the loves of my life, after all the loves of my life, I'll be thinking of you. I will take my life into my hands, and I will lose it. I will win the worship in their eyes, and I will lose it. I will have the things that I desire, and my passion flow like rivers to the sky. And after all the loves of my life, after all the loves of my life, I'll be thinking of you and wondering why.
Steve, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Oh my goodness, that was just, I can't wait to upload the video and play it over and over and over again.
Maybe I should make a video. I'm thinking about doing that.
Yes, it's beautiful. So tell the audience quickly how they can stay connected to you, find out where you'll be performing next.
Sure. I've got all my dates, pretty much, most of my dates on my website, www.stevewashington.biz. Okay. SteveWashington.biz, like showbiz. So, and can I just talk about the Metropolitan Room? Big deal for us. This is a big deal for us. Yes. So we're going to be debuting in New York. I've played New York so many times. Wow. But it's always been with other groups, So I've always been like but this is me this time. It's me debuting as me in New York City. So it's kind of a big deal.
And when is this?
This is June 28th.
Okay.
That's Sunday, June 28th, 9:30.
See, I feel as though you can get a van or a boat. I mean, a boat, not boat.
A
busload of folk.
If we could, we'd do a boat.
Get a boat. Get a busload of folk to come on out and support. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Beautiful room. Oh, beautiful.
Gosh, I might have to try to make that trip. I have to check my schedule. So now is the Set Your Mind, Set Your Week segment where I give a motivational quote that that strikes me as I'm putting together the script. And so today, the quote is, "Life should be touched, not strangled. You've got to relax and let it happen at times, and at others move forward with it." And we talked about how the takeaway for this is, we talked about how there's no rush with creating your project. The end result should be a great work of art that represents who you are as an artist and a creator. Sometimes there is a pause in life caused by various reasons, for example, financial, timing, and just being in that creative space to write and make music. Whatever the reason, relax and let it happen when it's supposed to, and enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, guys, it's never too late, and, don't rush it, but, just take baby steps if you have to, but you will definitely reach your goal, your destination, your finished product.
Yes.
Right? Thank you so much for coming on the show, Steve. It was such a pleasure and a long time coming.
Thanks for the invite, my dear.
Yes, guys, make sure you follow Steve. Stay abreast of where he's performing. Support him. Support your indie artists. Please do that because it's definitely needed and necessary. Until next week, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you bring friends next week, okay? Thank you so much for performing. That was beautiful.
Thanks, Dan.
My goodness.
Dan LeMaistre guitar.
Yeah, you want to wave bye to the...
Okay.
Yes, say bye.
Bye, everybody.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. See you next week. Love you. Bye.